Welcome one, welcome all. I am here with Kurt Jones, our Summer League guy this summer, and I can't wait to talk about this 2-game slate that we have to open things up in Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. How are you doing, Kurt?
Doing good, doing good. We got the Cade news today, so that's really clutch.
Very clutch. The Rockets and Orlando Magic take on each other in game 1, where we get Jabari Smith and Paulo Banchero in the mix here. Should be a lot of fun. And then the late game that starts at midnight Eastern time is Portland and Detroit basketball. So Jaden Ivey will get to take on Mr. Showdown Sharp out of UK, where he played a grand total of 0 games for them. But I'm really looking forward to this slate, and really, I'm ready to dive in. You got anything for me, Kurt?
Like a little background we got with the basketball court. We were a little tough to set up at first. We got it going now. So for the few people who are going to check this out for the little 10K to first slate, we got it rocking. Let's go.
Yeah, 10K to first. I'm expecting, even though it's a 2-game slate, I'm expecting a solo shipper. We got some guys that we both liked coming into this slate, and we got them at a cheap price tag too. Like, I really think that we will be able to fit these studs and still run it back with great guys at the 4K range and stuff. Like, I am absolutely pumped. And why waste any more time, Kurt? Let's go ahead and dive into this first game. We'll start it off. Houston, Orlando. We're going to start with the Houston side of things. I got a projected 5 here. You know, we are going to debate the 5th guy. Right now, you know, it's between about 6-7 guys for us. It's Ty Washington, Josh Christopher, Anthony Lamb, Jabari Smith, Usman Garuba, and Tari Eason, and who was the last one? Daishan Nix. So those 7 guys, we think definitely out of those 7, that 5 of them will start. We probably won't play Lamb if he's off the bench, but if Lamb starts, it's going to be a solid play. But really, I think the main guy that I'm looking at right now is Josh Christopher. I think, you know, he's showed that last year at times that he's a true NBA talent. And I'm also looking at Usman Garuba, who I think was just raw. And then we also get that 10 foul limit in Summer League. Really looking forward to it. I think those are my 2 guys. But Kurt, talk me onto these 7.
I'm going to be super, super high on Christopher. Like, I might lock him in the 20 entry max. Garuba, I'm going to be way underweight on than what you are. It's just I talked about in the playbook. There's going to be a game where he goes crazy with like blocks and steals, but I don't want a guy that I have to depend on. Okay, well, I need his 10 boards. I'm going to need like 2 blocks. I'm going to need 2 steals from him. I don't want to depend on that. Like, he doesn't look for his own shot hardly yet. I also mentioned the playbook. I like to see how his offensive game has grown over the summer. So I might be eating my words tomorrow, but I was hoping he'd come around 6K. Yeah, Josh Christopher will be way overweight on. Jabari definitely going to have more now that Cade's out. I'm willing to eat that price with Cade out, and since I'm definitely not playing hardly any Sharp, we've not seen the guy play in so long. And Tari Eason's so expensive. So that's really what I got for the top here for the Houston side.
Yeah, I mean, I will argue here with Usman Garuba because I love to argue with you. Last Summer League, he had, you know, 1 game over 20 minutes. He had 8 points, 10 rebounds, 6 dimes. Yeah. 6 times. This talent is here. I'm telling you.
Garuba,
here's the fact. Who needs to create their own shot when a dunk counts the same as a 15, 20-foot jump shot, Kurt? This man's going to get 5 dunks. He's going to dominate the glass. He's going to dish out the rock. They're going to want to see him play with the ball in his hands, dishing it out like Isaiah Hartenstein. Yeah, that's right. I used an Isaiah Hartenstein comp in the Summer League. I truly think that at 7K, we're getting the softest price point on Garuba, and we should actually see consistent 25, 30 minutes for him. I'm going to argue. He's my flag plant. I know we're already just one team into this.
He gets 25
minutes. Flag plant for this Rockets team.
I'll ride with you then. Screw it. I'm on board. I'm gonna play 50% Garuba now.
That's the problem, Kurt. You know, you got to engage on me. You know, you got to argue against me. We're too agreeable already.
I've seen everything I've seen was limited minutes. Like, even in EuroLeague when I watched him, it's limited minutes.
Yep.
So it's the thing is, like, even if you're not scoring, if the dude's going to get 30 minutes, like, balls fall down into him. Like, guys that are very bad at basketball will drive right into him and let him stonk it. Like, so I see your point. I do. It's just it's just so hard playing guys who can't score that well.
I have nothing to back it up, but I would tend to think that Summer League leads to more missed shots than in a regular NBA game. So maybe those rebounds do get inflated a little bit. I will say, just because, you know, Jabari Smith, he's 9-1. That's cheaper than Sadiq Bey. I don't think Bey is going to play that much, but it's cheaper than Paulo Banchero. and just barely more expensive than Jaden Ivey. So I'm really wondering, like, are we gonna chase Jabari Smith at all here? Do you think he shows out, wants to prove that
The thing is,
Tabalo Banchero that he should have been the number 1 pick?
here's the thing: it's only a 2-game slate, and we're not really going to play Eason, and there's not that many high like. I mean, let's assume Bay doesn't play. Like, you're playing Banchero, but I mean, you have enough salary to send for another forward, and we know Jabari likes to chuck the ball. So it's like, I don't care to eat the salary now that Cade's out because I'm going to have plenty of it. And yeah, that's the only. And it's a 2-game slate, so that's why, really.
For sure. And I think, we'll get into Banchero here in just like probably 60 seconds or less. But I truly think it'll be between Jabari Smith and Banchero. Maybe you can fit both. It's going to be difficult with the min price only being 4K instead of like a regular NBA game being 3K. But you're right. We're not going to play Eason. We both don't like Shadon Sharp at all because he's so raw. He hasn't played basketball in a long time, and we don't have any options. Bay and Cunningham out. Like, we're limited on top options. So I will go ahead and transfer over to the Magic side unless you have anything to add with the Rockets. But Banchero at the top.
Yeah. We'll go top half of the Magic, and then we'll run it back with the lows on both sides. I'm not the Magic. The Magic. I'm sorry.
Love it. And what's your initial thoughts on Banchero?
So I hate playing these Magic because they play 20 guys, but I actually do have a little bit of interest tomorrow. Like last year, I think Suggs. Everyone else played hardly all spread out minutes, and then they gave Suggs a lot of minutes basically. So I'm cool with Banchero. If you're going to play someone on the Magic besides the other 2 guys I have mentioned, it's going to be Banchero. I think they got 3 total. Banchero will probably be the top spin, assuming Bay doesn't be out. It's going to be eating chalk. Don't care. The guy can do a little bit of everything. Yeah, it's a good play, smash play.
Yeah, I like your mention of Suggs. We can same coaching staff as last year, so that's a big thing. We can kind of expect more of the same. They might be playing a lot of guys, but Suggs getting major burn. I remember playing Suggs quite a bit. We're going to get major minutes out of Banchero. It's not something that we're really guessing on. I mean, obviously, it's an educated guess, but it's something that I feel confident in. I do kind of like him a little bit more than Jabari Smith, and I did like the fact that at Duke, especially more than me, but he did step up down there in the second half of the season and even into the tournament. Yeah, and he hit the glass hard, and he was actually not afraid to put the ball in the paint. And I think he wants to prove to everyone too. I know it's a summer league game. I know it doesn't mean much, but Banchero versus Smith, there's going to be something there. They're both going to want to prove that, hey, I'm better than you. 100%.
Facts.
So we'll move on down here, continuing with the Magic stuff. But you mentioned that they play a bunch of guys, and then you look at it, you're not going to pay $8K for Caleb Houston, are you?
I didn't like him in Michigan. Like I wish they would have made the pricing so people actually play him because I don't think he'll be that, especially not the first game.
Yeah, 100%. And what do we think? So you think it's just going to be spread out rotation minutes? Because we even have RJ Hampton, Admiral Schofield, and even Devin Connedy as 3 guys there who actually played in the NBA a little bit. I mean, are we going to see minutes from them at all? Xavier Simpson's even in the mix there too.
Yeah, I think Hampton will get a decent look. I actually like Hampton. I don't mind paying 8-3. I mean, I don't know. It feels kind of weird because you don't really know how much they're going to get, what they're really looking for out of him. But with all those guards there, it's not like his position's locked. I mean, he has a lot of competition on that roster as far as a point guard and like a backcourt guy goes. So don't mind going to Hampton. Has a lot to prove. And then Schofield, I don't know why he's listed as a point guard, shooting guard, but semi-interest might go 10%. I'm not going to play Simpson. I don't really like his game that much. He can't score. Just all assist. And I love Kennedy because he can score.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I just listened to, while you were talking, RJ Hampton had a little 17-second thing on what he's looking to show during the Summer League. He's looking on making every one of his teammates better, looking to improve defensively too. I think that's kind of a sign of a guy who definitely knows what's on the line. He knows that maybe end all be all, maybe it doesn't matter. But if he doesn't show out, like you said, they got how many guards in front of him in line? He could easily lose that rotation spot that we saw him hold down the second half of the season last year.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, you want these guys that are going to be motivated to play, especially if he's starting. I mean, he could get a double-double with assists. So, definitely
100%. So, some guys that, went off in the last Summer League, obviously we have Daniel Oturu.
Love it.
Turu.
He's in my
He went off a
he's
lot.
in my core for tomorrow.
Yep. 4-6. Talk more upon him, Kurt.
You know, he did great. Like, why is he listed as a small forward? He did great last summer league. He's 4'6". He's going to start. There's not much competition as far as true bigs go on this Magic roster. Emmanuel Terry can play alongside him, so it's not like he's like direct competition. I also have interest in Terry. Great rebounder last summer league. But yeah, I mean, he did great last year. He's definitely looking to prove something for this Magic team. Not much competition. It's just too cheap. It's just too cheap for a guy who can put up 10 and 8. That's what he averaged last year.
I like the point there. Like, this is where our value kind of starts to hit a little bit. I don't see as much value on the Houston side of the ball, but with Orlando, you mentioned 2 pieces right there, sub 5K. And I know there's a piece on Portland that we're both going to be very interested in, depending on whether he starts or not. So this is where it looks like we're going to be saving money at the forward position. And it kind of leads to maybe the possibility of only being able to pick one of Banchero or Smith because that's where the value is. So you might only get to play one at small forward or power forward in this sake, and probably forcing me to play Garuba at center, which that kills me. I don't like playing just one center in summer league, and but we'll talk about this here in a little bit. But any last thoughts on this game that you can kind of touch on?
Let me go down here, man. Eric Gordon's brother is on the Houston's roster. He's not in play. At the deep GPP play, I love my Tamanang Cho. Pretty sure he went to Brown. Don't mind him as a deep GPP play, like if you're running 20 lineups. Even though this Rockets lineup only has 14. So you definitely, like I said in the playbook, you want to target the Trailblazers and the Rockets roster because they only have 14, whereas the Magic and Detroit have like almost 20.
Yeah.
So don't mind him as a deep GPP play. But you never know. Like this game could be a blowout, and then he ended up getting even more run than what he should because Christopher's only playing like 18 minutes.
Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense there. I kind of like the deep shout. I'm just going to go ahead and sum it up here. No interest in Ty Washington, even if he starts for you?
No.
I like it. And one other guy that I just want to touch on real quick, just to make sure that we have interest on him or not. Just because you mentioned him, between Lamb or Knicks, who do you have more interest on if they both start somehow?
Oh, man, that's tough. If they both start Knicks, because Knicks will score.
And they'll probably need scoring, especially if Eason starts. It's going to be.
Yeah, I will note that I'm pretty sure. Is this the Cheatham from Arizona State? No, this is a Quan Cheatham. That's not the same one. I'm thinking of Z Cheatham.
Oh,
yeah. Good game for the Nuggets. Who the hell is Quan Cheatham? Yeah. So no on him. But next.
All right, the second game, the Midnight Capper. Also has a showdown on it as well, surprisingly. So 10K, so 2K to first, I believe. So it should be a lot of fun. We have lots of talent on this Detroit side, but it looks like these guys are at the top, like Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, even like Isaiah Stewart. They might not play much at all, if any. So we have a lot of kind of a wait and see approach, especially to this Detroit side. Who do they start? Who do they sit? And you mentioned it on our Summer League preview pod about how we're going to be thrilled to get a guy like Saban Lee or get a guy like Luke Garza, which, Garza plays for Portland. I'm looking at it right here. I immediately forgot.
First game, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, 100%. So, even like, I assume Killian Hayes is in the same boat as Cade Cunningham almost. But what do you think Detroit does, and what are you planning on?
I mean, after seeing Cade, like the speculation of Cade not playing, why would Bey play then? You know what I mean? Like, what's he got to do? I mean, I guess if you want to make the case for Killian, it's like, okay, let Killian and Ivy kind of battle it out for who will be like the guy who steps up when K's not on the floor. But I think Stewart and Hayes might have a little something to prove, is where Bey just doesn't, man. Like, and that's going to bring Isaiah Livers into play, and Braxton Key is who starts at the 4 for them, which I think is going to be Livers. But yeah, I just think I'm just going to go ahead and assume Bey is not. Let's just go ahead and do this whole thing as if Bey is not going to play.
So Livers is my guy. I have to give him a shout out. He made me 3K on my birthday during a showdown slate against Philly. So whenever you say Livers, he might be in, he might be out, I am for sure going to be playing Livers. That dude is just good. I think he's actually like just a legitimately good basketball player.
I was going to play him even if he was in. So
yeah, and the only problem, I know he's 4.8K, so it's cheap. he's another forward that we have to choose from. So it's really emphasizing the point that we might only get one of Banchero or Smith if we want to get up to that salary. So these forwards is where the salary is saved at.
That's true. Very, very true. As far as Ivy and Sharp go, I'm taking the same approach on them. I think Ivy, assuming Hayes and Lee play, I think he'll kind of just be eased in a little bit. Love the talent, but I'm going to wait. And then Sharp, we've not seen him play, and God knows when. So I'm not playing Sharp. Don't play Duran. He is not with them yet. The trade has not been finalized.
Yeah, so I think that trade might be finalized, or maybe wasn't included in the roster. Something to definitely keep an eye on.
Well, he won't be on the roster officially until the next game or something.
Yeah, like so it's really tough to even get no practice time too and stuff. So we're definitely fading almost all the top part of this game. I'm not on Jaden Ivey. I think he's a great talent, and I think that's going to be great. But 9K for a guy who's going to be extremely scoring dependent as he was in college, especially in the summer league where we don't even know how much burn he'll get to. It's a turnoff. And at 9K, I'd much rather be able to spend that for Jabari Smith and Banchero and kind of fiddle that way. But it's almost a double-edged sword with these studs too. Like if Killian Hayes, if you said, Greg, Killian Hayes getting 28 minutes, I'd be like, holy shit, man, I got to play him. I got to. But there's a chance he only gets 18 minutes. There's a chance he doesn't even play. Like, he starts only plays one stint. So it's a double-edged sword. I think if you're playing multiple lineups, you should definitely have like a splash Killian Hayes. I think his ownership will reflect that. You're not going to you don't want to go too overweight and get burned by him. But he's a true NBA talent going into the summer league. We've seen true NBA talents ball out. Even if it's only for 1 or 2 games. If Killian Hayes is starting, it's the tough part where it's the second game. I definitely want to have him. So I'm going to keep an eye on Coach News, Coach Pete for that.
I think you can put him in there, and if we don't get news that he starts, which I think he will, but that's another thing to mention, guys. Detroit is very good about giving us news, and there's going to be a lot of teams that we get rosters on because Detroit's playing them, and we get both the rosters. I'm talking about that with Fly Walker earlier, but so we will get news on Detroit about who's starting. And say if that does come and Hayes isn't in, who cares? You can get Saban Lee for 5,100. He might as well be 8,400 if you're assuming Hayes. And plus, you can just go up to Ivy if that's the case. So if Hayes is out, like it's fine. I mean, you can adjust to Ivy or Lee. It doesn't matter. Or you can leave
That's
it out.
true.
Who cares?
And I don't mean to have such a hard stance against Ivy, but if the case came where I had to go with Ivy over him, that's definitely fine. I like leaving 600 in salary too to be able to allow you to pivot, and that's important on a 2-game slate, even in summer league if you want to get a little unique. Leave some salary and stuff.
How about this? How about if Hayes is rolled out and everyone's automatically is just going to go up to Ivy because they have enough? What if you just go to Lee and leave 3,000 on the table?
Yeah, see, there's another option right there. And Lee
outscores him in the first game.
Yeah, we know Lee. We've seen him play quite a bit. He's a good player. He's not going to be an NBA starter caliber, but he's good enough to ball up in the summer league for sure.
Yeah.
So
you got
moving on down the list here. I think we're going to switch over to the Portland side of the ball, and we can cover the 4K guys a little bit later. But I do want to start with a 4K guy for Portland. You mentioned him on the summer league pod. I'll let you take the floor. Kyle Alexander, especially if he starts, he's a lock, right?
Yeah, the guy's just a rebounding menace, and I mean, he's like a walking 8 and 8. It's like Hayward Highsmith from Miami. He's a walking 8 and 8. And if you're gonna give me those guys for sub 5K, I'm gonna take him in summer league because I need some guys for the floor. And I know that those guys are gonna be actually playing. So even if he doesn't start, I'm gonna still have him in a little bit. But I'm gonna go way overweight if he's starting.
And that's the thing too, is that if he's starting, we're gonna love him. But we also have livers at just like 700 more, 800 more, 4.8. And then you have even guys like you keep looking down the list. It kind of gets a little more thin with those pivots. But even let's say my boy, Luke Garza's 5K, so that you would need to use the utility spot there. And I think we're going to talk about Garza right now here too, Luka Garza. But I'm huge on Kyle Alexander. Like you mentioned it, 18 and 14, 14 and 9, 15 and 8, all in 25 minutes or less in the summer league last year. He's going to dominate, crash the glass, try and make his imprint on game. 4K is so soft. If he starts, we're going to have him. Luka Garza, though, it's a revenge game. Do you believe in revenge games, Kurt, in summer league?
Yeah, he's in my core as well. I already got. I think they could have made him 7K and made who else is up here? They could have made him Greg Brown. Why is Greg Brown more expensive than Garza? Garza's just too cheap. He's going to be in the core. He's going to start. They're going to get extended run. He fits that system so perfect as far as big guys who can has a great offensive game, but cinder block feet, which they end up making into decent defenders a little bit. This is a great system fit. I think he's going to play like heavy minutes. Another thing I want to point out for Portland is Greg Brown. I don't know why he's 5,700 and George King is 4,400. Like George King is, I mean, they're basically the same player. I feel like I think King's slightly better. He's 4,400. So I don't know why I'd pay 5,700 for Brown when I can just get King for 4,400.
I hear that. And I like the George King call too. But as we keep saying and keep alluding to, forward. I'm trying to build a lineup right now where I can get Smith and Banchero, and I'll tell you, it's extremely hard. Like, you kind of run out of value if you're playing Garuba, especially. If you're not playing Garuba, I think that's going to be where the final decision gets made. You're probably going to have to pick, in my case, 2 out of 3 of Garuba, Banchero, and Smith because they all soak up a forward/center spot. I'm with you on Luka Garza. I'm with you on locking him. 5K is an extreme joke. Yeah. It's an insult to a legend like him, where he absolutely dominated in the summer league last year. He's gonna get usage. He's gonna get minutes here. Gotta play him. But man, what do you do with these studs? And especially at the guard position too, where Josh Christopher's a spend up. So I'll tell you that this decision gets more and more difficult here as the forwards, as we have no guard value, but all the forward value.
I think, I like Keon Johnson. You can play him at the 2. I mean, he's 8,100, but I think the only reason you would want to play the Jabari and Banchero lineup is just to get different because no one's going to have that combo. Besides that, I don't really see a point in playing it. If you want to do ownership leverage, then yeah.
Can I play devil's advocate here? I think it'll be much more popular than.
I absolutely would not play that. It's terrible.
Why? You get the 1 and 3 picks on a primetime game that everyone gets to watch in the opening game of a 2-game set. Bro, it's going to be owned, man. I think Banchero clocks in at 50%, and I think Smith clocks in at like 40%.
You want to pay up at guard. They got the ball in their hands. If anything in the summer league shot me, is you want to pay up for the guys who have the ball in their hands and do not have to worry about someone else creating their own shot. Which I'm not saying Jabari can't, but it's not like Jabari's going to be bringing the ball up the court.
Yep. 100%.
So won't you just pick one between? They're the same type of players. So pick one between Banchero or Smith.
That's why I'm playing devil's advocate.
2 guys who won't bring the ball up the court in summer league. When you got these guys trying to make the league, no, these little point guards, they want the ball in their hands.
All right, I love it. Now we'll transition from just one more player here that I really want to mention. Brandon Williams at 6'4", NBA talent. We saw it last year. I wouldn't say NBA talent, maybe top tier G League talent. I'm sorry, I like Brandon Williams a little bit, but he was rough on the edges at sometimes. But 6.4K for a guy with his type of potential usage, I mean that's kind of tempting.
Everyone loves him, so I like him a lot less because of that. Like everyone's like, "Oh, Brandon Williams, 6,400." Like I'm serious. Like almost everyone I've talked to is like, "Oh, I like Brandon Williams." I'm like, or you can go Craig Randall, who led the G League in scoring, is a much better scorer than Brandon Williams. You can get him for $1,600 cheaper. I'm going to have some Williams. I'm don't get me wrong, but would I be surprised if Randall outscores him at half the ownership? No.
So talk to me more about Randall. That's the first time that I've actually heard of him. I have not yet read the playbook yet. I'm sorry.
Wow. That's hurtful.
I've been working.
So he was like 3rd in scoring in G League. I was so blown away by his like points per game. I didn't even look at the other stats. So let me go peep those right now.
I got it right here for you, Kurt. 27, 5, 6.
The dude averaged 27. You want Brandon Williams averaged what? He averaged what, 22? I think he only played 13 games last year in the G League.
So if Randall starts, God, how do you not play him?
I hope he doesn't. Really? I don't care. I hope he doesn't. I'll still play him, and no one else will play him, and he'll drop like 18 points easily.
I hope he doesn't. I love it. I almost want to end it on that call, but I got to mention one other NBA caliber player, Trendon Watford. Is he going to play much at all?
Yeah, I think he'll get a good look here. It's just a little bit too expensive at the forwards. We're paying up at other places.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, he's making me feel some pain tomorrow. I loved his game at LSU.
Perfect. Well, thanks for hopping on, Kurt. I really appreciate it. We should have an absolute blast with this 2-gamer. I'm looking forward to big things, and I truly am excited. Now, you got me all excited now with Craig Randall II. I mean, I was looking for guard value everywhere, and you just dropped that gem on me. I want to end it on one note, just one note. Who's your lock and why?
So I guess give someone else that's not in my core already.
No, give one in your core. It's all right. It's a free show. Everyone's gonna get access to it.
Give me Randall. We're talking him up at the end too. Give me Randall. Screw it. Not even in my core. I'm gonna get a bonus play.
Perfect. I'm gonna go Garuba. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day and run pure.